Star Trek Picard meets Deep Space Nine in the first episode of Season 2, and that's not the only Easter egg buried in this reference-heavy show. The premiere episode of Picard Season 2 opens with Starfleet officers scurrying through the corridors in the middle of what appears to be a battle aboard a starship. Arriving on the bridge, things aren't looking good as an unseen villain is tapping into the ship's systems and appears to be gaining control. Unable to overpower the enemy, Picard commands the ship's computer to activate the Auto-Destruct sequence. We later learn the enemy is the Borg, and longtime fans will note this isn't the first time that Picard has had to order self-destruct due to a Borg invasion. It is, however, a major change from his previous behavior, and shows he's learned a lesson from a certain former Klingon security chief. In the 1996 film Star Trek First Contact, the Borg had infiltrated the Enterprise and had controlled more than half the ship. Picard's trusted officer and friend, Lieutenant Commander Worf, recommended they self-destruct the ship in order to prevent its total takeover. Picard adamantly refused to destroy it, and it wasn't until he got a lecture from Lily that he relented and set the ship to self-destruct. This time, it seems, Picard is much quicker to respond, having learned that when the Borg take over, sometimes it's best to activate the ship's auto-destruct system right away. As many eagle-eyed viewers noticed in the first teaser for the new season, a major piece of Deep Space Nine lore appeared prominently on the table in Picard's library. It appeared that the former Enterprise captain, an avid archaeologist, was studying the Reckoning tablet, which originally made its first and only appearance in Star Trek Deep Space Nine.
I see you recognize it.
In the episode The Reckoning, the tablet was smashed to pieces by Captain Sisko after he received a vision. In doing so, he released the villainous Pa-wraiths that were locked in a centuries-long war with the Bajoran prophets. Many wondered if the appearance of the tablet was an Easter egg just for trailers, perhaps as a simple reference to Star Trek Deep Space Nine. But the tablet does indeed appear in the opening episode of Picard Season 2. As Picard and Laris speak in his library, it appears on the table between them in the center of the screen, and it is still in pieces. There's a viewing glass above it, which suggests Picard has indeed been studying it. Given its prominence in the scene, we wonder if it's more than just an Easter egg and perhaps a hint of more to come. As the first episode transitions to Picard's speech at Starfleet Academy, we see Picard, in his new role as Chancellor of the Academy, standing before a group of incoming cadets. Behind him is a series of flags, presumably of Federation member worlds. That's notable because there's a number of flags from worlds who weren't members of the Federation during the Next Generation. While we do see flags for the Tellarites and Vulcans, who were founding members, we see a Klingon flag as well. Longtime allies of the Federation since at least the days of TNG, it seems they could now be full members of the UFP. We also see the Bajoran flag, indicating that Bajor may have finally gained membership following Deep Space Nine. But the most curious flag is the Ferengi flag. Though Ferenginar was on its way to change with the appointment of the less greed-focused Rom as their Grand Nagus at the end of Deep Space Nine, it's curious that they'd become Federation members so quickly.
A new Ferenginar needs a new kind of Nagus. Kinder, gentler Nagus. And that's you, my boy!
If these aren't the flags of Federation members, then it's possible these are simply flags of worlds from which Starfleet Academy has found cadets, meaning the Ferengi flag is a reference to the character Nog, the young Ferengi who attended the Academy and served aboard the Defiant on Deep Space Nine. During his speech, Picard is proud to introduce his friend Elnor as the first fully Romulan entrant into Starfleet Academy. This indicates that, at some point prior to the events of the episode, the Academy had admitted other cadets with at least partial Romulan ancestry. It's notable also because there has been at least one Starfleet officer that we've seen whose bloodline could be traced to Romulans, a crewman named Simon Tarsus from the Next Generation episode The Drumhead. Tarsus was investigated for his possible role in sabotaging the Enterprise, but his real crime was lying about his parentage by claiming he was part Vulcan rather than Romulan.
The paternal grandfather of whom you speak was not a Vulcan, but was in fact a Romulan. That it is Romulan blood you carry.
Ultimately, Tarsus did not even attend the Academy and chose to enlist instead. Nevertheless, it was heavily implied that there was great controversy surrounding officers who carried the blood of a Federation enemy. It remains to be seen if this will be an issue for Elnor, who vocalizes his concerns about fitting in at the Academy due to his race, though Picard's gift, a book written by Spock, should help. The Picard Season 2 premiere gives us a surprising glimpse into the childhood of Jean-Luc Picard, and hints that something terrible may have happened to his mother when he was young, but it's his mother's inspiring words to the young Picard as he looked up into the night sky that are the source of character drama in this episode. In flashbacks, we see how Yvette Picard nurtured her son's love of the stars, offering to build him an observatory of sorts on the family estate. We know from the TNG episode Family that Picard's father and brother both decried his choice to enter Starfleet, so it seems a fitting revelation that it was his mother who helped ignite his exploratory spirit. But in his speech to the Academy, Picard chooses to quote his mother with a phrase that clearly stuck with him all of his life. Let's see what's out there. It's an inspiring moment, and one that affected Picard greatly, and diehard Trekkies will remember this line for its appearance in the TNG premiere episode Encounter at Farpoint.
Let's see what's out there. Engage.
Back at the Academy, cadets await their first assignments with an officer calling out names and ships for them to report to. One cadet is sent to the Hikaru Sulu, clearly named for the helmsman of the original USS Enterprise, originally played by George Takei. In Star Trek Generations, we met Sulu's daughter, who helmed the Enterprise B, and it's clear from this new starship that her father's name has carried a powerful legacy even into the 25th century. Other ships include the Excelsior, captained by Raffi, where Elnor is assigned, and the USS Grissom. The original Excelsior was captained by Sulu himself in Star Trek VI: The Undiscovered Country. While it wouldn't be unprecedented if Elnor's ship were the same Excelsior, it's most likely a newer ship with the same name. The Grissom, meanwhile, though not seen, was the name of the science vessel that carried Lieutenant Saavik and David Marcus to the Genesis planet in Star Trek III: The Search for Spock. Admiral Picard also mentions to Raffi his intention to make some modifications to the Kobayashi Maru test, which is designed to evaluate an officer's decision-making skills in a no-win situation. This test has been seen or referenced several times, most famously in Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan, but again in J.J. Abrams' Star Trek reboot. When Picard visits his old friend Guinan, who is now tending a bar in Los Angeles, he goes to an address that will make fans of The Next Generation smile: 10 Forward Street. Fans will recall the location of Guinan's bar on the Enterprise as 10 Forward, but that's hardly the only Easter egg. Behind the bar, we see bottles of Cardassian Kanar from Deep Space Nine. Also on the wall is a sign for Arcanis Lager, first seen in Star Trek III: The Search for Spock. When the two sit down for a drink, she offers up some options, but selects a bottle of Saurian brandy, a classic Trek ale seen many times throughout the franchise. Here, she refers to it as hooch, seeming to reveal the drink is something less than a classy top-shelf spirit. When they first meet, Picard notes that Guinan's people, the Elorians, age slowly, and she tells him that aging is something that happens only if we choose to, and that she has chosen to for the benefit of humans who dislike being reminded of their own mortality. This helps explain to audiences why the centuries-old Guinan, played by Whoopi Goldberg, looks 20 years older than the last time we saw her in Star Trek Nemesis. She then makes a few clever nods to classic TNG episodes, referencing the times that they stood side by side to face a new galactic threat, like they did with the Borg in the episode Q Who. She also references the events of yesterday's Enterprise, when she recalls the time that they jumped universes together. But Picard hasn't come to reminisce, and is instead looking for some advice regarding his love life. Picard insists that he has loved before, and quite deeply, to which Guinan responds,
"Always with those who would only be temporary."
It's true that Picard has had a handful of dalliances in Trek, and the most obvious candidate is renegade archaeologist Vosh, whom he met in Captain's Holiday, who Picard clearly held a deep and passionate attraction towards. But, as Guinan said, Vosh was never a good match because she was always on the move, and Picard's first love was Starfleet. Their most haunting exchange is when she tells Picard that he should know better than most that there are worse things than being dead. This is a clear reference to his previous assimilation by the Borg, when they stole his body and mind and used him as an instrument of destruction. Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more Looper videos about your favorite movies and TV shows are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.